I'm filming. And welcome to another video. Today, as you can probably tell by the title, we are talking about spooky, scary, unsettling, eerie, weird books for this spooky season. These are just 9 of our favourites, but if you have any more recommendations, then please put them in the comments below. So we are going to start off with a recommendation for if you want a kind of creepy, fairy tale-y type YA book, we're going to recommend The Hazelwood. This book is about 17-year-old Alice, whose grandmother is the author of a creepy book of fairy tales. When Alice's mother is stolen by a mysterious figure who claims to be from the world that her grandmother wrote about, Alice sets out to rescue her. It's also worth noting that if you read this book and like it, it actually has 2 sequels. The first is already out, The Night Country, and the second, Tales from the Hinterland, is coming out next year. Now, normally when we do these recommendation videos, I have a copy of the books to show you, because I'm normally in the office and I can just walk on over to the publishers and be like, hello, please lend me a book for this video, and they give them to me. It's great. Obviously, you can't do that, but I did want to point out just how stunning the book covers are for these books. They look amazing. Books 2 and 3 on the list kind of are connected. So they are The Haunting of Hill House and The Turn of the Screw, which those of you in the know will have clocked are the books that the series The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix are based on. So if you're fans of those TV series, then I highly recommend reading the originals. The series are more like inspired by the books, so you won't already know like the entire story already. You'll kind of be able to pick up on some parallels and characters that are the same, but they are kind of, the series were inspired by the books rather than being straight adaptations, so it's kind of interesting to go back and read what they were based on. The Haunting of Hill House TV series, for example, is all about a family, whereas The Haunting of Hill House, the book, is based on a group of veritable strangers who come together. Similarly with The Turn of the Screw, the original, you know, not based in the 1980s like the TV show is. And what's fun about the copy of The Turn of the Screw that I'm going to link in the description is it's actually a collection of Henry James's short, kind of spooky, ghosty stories, so you get to read some other little tales of Halloween spookiness as well. The 4th recommendation is for someone who's like, I've already read those books. I've read basically like every horror that there is out there. Well, let me introduce you to a new release. As of this video going out, it's not actually out as of me filming it. As of the video being released, I think it might have been out for like a day or something like that. It's The Magpie Society. So basically it's set at this elite boarding school and the body of a student is found on the beach. Now, obviously, is this an unfortunate accident? Is there something sinister at play? We're not sure until a podcast starts airing that claims to know who killed them, and that another student is going to be next. So what's really interesting about this kind of thriller mystery story is that it is written by 2 authors and each of them wrote a different character's point of view. There are these 2 girls who were kind of thrust into an unlikely friendship, and each of them wrote a different one's point of view that goes backwards and forwards through the book. Again, this is actually the first book in an upcoming series, and it has been described as a classic modern gothic thriller. Our next recommendation is an absolute classic, but one that maybe like defies genre a bit. I've not necessarily seen it on a lot of lists of like classic horror, but I do think in its tale of like hauntings and ghosts in the past, it absolutely can be read by that, and it is Beloved. Set in the mid 1800s, it tells the story of a former slave who is haunted by her past, a decision that she made in her past. I don't know what to say without spoiling anything. It's an incredible book. It's one of those sort of like literary horrors, so if that seems like it might be up your street, again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it's incredible. It's also quite intense. I will say, I mean, this is obviously a list of horror books, and so if you are someone who maybe needs trigger warnings or content warnings for the books, then definitely look them up beforehand, because there's a lot of horrible, terrifying, frightening things in these books, so be safe. If you're more into the true crime vibes, not because it's about a crime that's true, but the kind of like murder, body found in the woods kind of stuff, then I'm going to recommend Death in Her Hands. This also has a bit of like black comedy running through it. It's essentially about an old lady who finds a note in the woods about a body, but no body, and she becomes obsessed with figuring out who this woman is who's supposed to have died and like why the body isn't there, and it's just a really brilliant kind of melding of horror and comedy, and obsession and all that good stuff. The next book I'm going to recommend is if you want to be able to see an interview and like hear from the author, because we actually did it as one of our books for the Platform Book Club. If you haven't heard of the Platform Book Club, where have you been, my friend? Please join us. It's amazing. It's so much fun. We read a different book every month and then we chat to the author on the last Tuesday of every month, and we can ask them any questions we want. You can ask a question, you can read the book and immediately you think a question and you just ask the author. It's great. It's really fun. We also have a Discord where we chat during the month about not just the book we're reading, but books in general, writing, just life, stuff like that. I'll leave the information in the description so that you can find out all about it. But this was our one from a couple of weeks ago. I think it was one we read in August, which is Harrow Lake. So this book is about Lola, whose father is a famous kind of cult horror film director, and his most famous film, which also starred her mother, was set in the town that her mother grew up in and that her grandmother still lives in. And her father basically is attacked in their New York apartment, and so she is shipped off to live with her grandmother while he recovers. I genuinely had to stop reading this book at night because it's just so creepy. It's so creepy. There's all of these like really incredible like urban legends that get wrapped up in the stories. I feel like any of the like little urban legend small town stories that are included in this book, I could read a whole book about. They're amazing. So yeah, if that sounds good, you can read the book and then go over to our channel and watch the entire interview we did with the author Kat Ellis. Next recommendation is going to be one that you can listen to. So a lot of these you can listen to the audiobook, but this is specifically a radio play. It was originally broadcast on the BBC, but Penguin now have released it as a download, audio download, which is really exciting. It's called Blackbetty. So this is part of a series about an African-American detective called Easy Rawlins in the 1960s. And this is specifically about the disappearance of a woman from his past. It's set kind of along the backdrop of the civil rights movement, and it's just like it's so great. You get to hear all of the actors portraying all of these characters, you get really immersed in it, and it was part of a season on the BBC about like American noir, so if you're into that kind of, you know, film noir detective-y stuff, then this is probably right up your street. And finally, our last recommendation of this video is Zone 1. So this is for people who love the old zombie genre, who haven't gotten enough of the concept of pandemics right now. So this book is set like after a zombie apocalypse situation has happened, and some armed forces have managed to get a bit of land which does not have any zombies in. They're kind of cleaning all the zombies out, so we're starting with a little bit of hope, and then things go wrong. So classic zombie stuff. So if that is your vibe, check out Code 1. So yeah, that is our recommendation list of spooky season reads. Hopefully there was enough of a spread across the entire horror thriller genre that there is going to be something for everyone in this video. But yeah, if there's any recommendations you would like to give, put them in the comments, and if you are looking for more recommendations, check them out down there. I look forward to seeing the kind of stuff that you're recommending. And as always, if you'd like more bookish videos like this in your sub box, then don't forget to subscribe.